Under the bright glow of Hollywood's golden age, laughter often echoed across television screens, but behind some of those brightest smiles lived the quiet ache of battles fought in silence. Few stars carried both light and shadow the way Lucille Ball did. Long before she became a comedy legend, her life was shaped by pain, ambition, loss, and an inner fire that refused to be extinguished. Have you ever wondered how someone can light up a room while carrying the weight of so many personal struggles? Or how a woman in a male-dominated era rose to become one of the most powerful figures in the entertainment industry? These are not just questions about fame, they're questions about human resilience, love, and the cost of becoming a symbol the world refuses to forget. Lucille Ball was not born into glamour. She entered the world on August 6, 1911, in Jamestown, New York, as Lucille Desiree Ball, a name that would one day be known in every American household. But before the fame came the hardship. Her father's sudden death when she was only 3 shattered the stability of her early years. The constant relocations and emotional void left behind shaped the quiet strength that would later carry her through the toughest days of her career. A distressing childhood experience sparked a lifelong phobia of birds, an early sign of how deeply trauma could burrow into a life that seemed outwardly perfect. Still, through these cracks, light found its way in. Her mother, strong and devoted, remarried and continued to support Lucille in every possible way, surrounding her with the love of family. Cousin Cleo, who would later work closely with her as a producer, was a constant presence, another thread in the fabric of Lucille's tightly woven support system. From a young age, Lucille was mesmerized by performance. The vaudeville acts she saw at amusement parks didn't just entertain her. They stirred something deep inside. That first chance to step into the spotlight came at age 12 when her stepfather encouraged her to audition for a chorus line. The moment she heard the applause, something awakened. The validation, the joy, the thrill. It was like nothing else. Even as she faced rejection from drama school, where teachers doubted her ability, and later battled rheumatic fever that forced her off the stage for 2 years, Lucille's hunger to perform never faded. She kept pushing. Modeling gigs in New York came first, then small film parts in Hollywood. She wasn't chasing fame. She was chasing her purpose. The 1930s saw her appearing in a string of modest films. She worked with some of the greats, the Three Stooges, Marx Brothers, Fred Astaire, and Ginger Rogers, but she was often labeled the Queen of B-movies. A title that both defined her limitations and hinted at her persistence. She was working, learning, absorbing. In the background, she formed lasting bonds with people like actor Gale Gordon, whose loyalty would endure throughout her career. Then, in 1940, on the set of Too Many Girls, she met the man who would change her personal and professional life, Desi Arnaz. Their romance was electric, their chemistry undeniable. It wasn't just love, it was a collision of 2 ambitious forces that would rewrite television history. In 1948, a new opportunity knocked. A CBS radio show called My Favorite Husband gave Lucille a broader audience. When the network wanted to bring it to television, Lucille insisted that Desi play her husband, despite the racial biases of the time. Networks were hesitant. An American woman with a Cuban man as a husband on TV? But Lucille didn't flinch. She and Desi took their show on the road, proving to CBS, and to America, that audiences loved them together. And in 1951, I Love Lucy was born. The show was nothing short of revolutionary. Audiences adored the misadventures of Lucy Ricardo, and behind the scenes, Lucille was breaking ground as well. She pushed for innovation, from filming on high-quality 35mm to retaining rights to the episodes. A decision that would later become a model for syndication and set up Desilu Studios. She wasn't just the star. She was the business brain behind the curtain. Desilu would go on to produce massive hits like Star Trek and Mission Impossible. In a world dominated by men, Lucille Ball became the first woman to run a major television studio. Her influence changed the industry forever. But even as her public life soared, private pain followed close behind. The couple's love, once fiery and passionate, was worn down by the stress of managing their growing empire and Desi's struggles with infidelity. Behind their picture-perfect marriage were late-night arguments, heartbreak, and attempts to hold it all together for the sake of the show, and their children. When Lucille became pregnant in real life, it created another cultural ripple. Until then, pregnancy had been taboo on television. But Lucille insisted it be written into the show, breaking more barriers. The episode revealing her pregnancy attracted over 44 million viewers, signaling a shift in what television could show, and what America was ready to accept. Still, fame came at a price. The political paranoia of the Red Scare era brought a frightening chapter to Lucille's life. An old voter registration card from 1936 labeled her a communist, something she had signed only to please her grandfather. Decades later, it came back to haunt her. She testified in secret before the House Un-American Activities Committee and cooperated fully. Though eventually cleared by J. Edgar Hoover himself, the shadow of suspicion lingered. It was a reminder that even the most beloved stars could become targets in a climate of fear. Lucille's journey as a mother was filled with both deep love and emotional strain. After enduring miscarriages, she and Desi welcomed their children, Lucy and Desi Jr., during the height of their show's success. Raising children while running a media empire and maintaining a public image created impossible pressure. By 1960, after years of trying to salvage their marriage, Lucille and Desi divorced. Yet, in a testament to their enduring connection, they never became bitter enemies. They remained friends and co-parents, and even as Desi's health declined in the 80s, Lucille was there, reminding him of the love that had once been the heartbeat of their shared dreams. She married comedian Gary Morton in 1961, a quieter, more stable presence in her life. Gary joined her in her professional world, learning television production under Lucille's guidance. Together, they navigated the changing tides of entertainment. Lucille continued to create, starring in The Lucy Show and Here's Lucy, where her own children joined her on screen. Films like Yours, Mine and Ours showed she could still draw crowds. Behind the scenes, she mentored younger talents like Carol Burnett, passing on the wisdom she had earned through years of trial and triumph. But time has a way of humbling even the brightest stars. In 1986, Lucille made one final attempt at a TV comeback with Life with Lucy, a sitcom about a widowed grandmother working in a hardware store. Despite the familiar presence of Gail Gordon and her signature comedic timing, the show failed to resonate. Critics were unkind, and audiences, perhaps moved on from the Lucille they once knew, didn't show up. After just 8 episodes, it was cancelled. For someone who had given so much to television, the rejection hurt deeply. It was not just a career disappointment. It was a personal blow. Her last major public appearance came at the 1989 Academy Awards, where she stood next to Bob Hope and was met with a long, heartfelt standing ovation. It wasn't just applause. It was recognition. A tribute to a life that had entertained, inspired, and broken barriers. But beneath her radiant smile, her body was tired. Years of working through illness, of pushing herself past exhaustion, had taken their toll. Still, she never allowed the world to see her pain fully. She remained warm, gracious, and filled with gratitude for a life she had shaped on her own terms. In one of her final deeply touching acts, Lucille reached out to Desi just days before his death. Their daughter, Lucille Arnaz, later shared how her mother called him and simply repeated the words, "I love you," over and over again. There was no bitterness, no regret, just love. That moment distilled everything about Lucille Ball that made her so unforgettable. Even after everything, career highs, personal heartbreaks, and public scrutiny, what she held on to was love. That phone call wasn't just a goodbye. It was closure. It was forgiveness. And it was beautiful. When Lucille passed away on April 26, 1989, her ashes were placed beside her mother's at Forest Lawn Cemetery. Later, they were moved to her hometown of Jamestown, New York, to rest with her family. Her brother Fred would eventually be placed there too, making it a place of peace, memory, and belonging. It was a quiet end for someone who had lived so loudly, loved so deeply, and fought so hard for her place in the world. Lucille Ball once said, "I'd rather regret the things I've done than the things I haven't done." And she lived that truth with every breath. She wasn't just a pioneer in television. She was a mother, a wife, a businesswoman, a mentor, and above all, a fighter. Her legacy isn't just in reruns or production credits. It's in every woman who stepped into a boardroom because she showed it was possible, in every comedian who dared to be bold, and in every viewer who laughed through pain because Lucille showed them how. Her story raises questions we still think about today. Could her final act in television have been received differently if the industry had honored her legacy more fully? Could a heart that gave so much have deserved a softer landing in the end? Maybe. But even without the perfect conclusion, Lucille Ball's life was extraordinary. She didn't just make people laugh. She changed the rules. And in doing so, she became immortal. If this story moved you, if Lucille Ball made you laugh, cry, or simply feel something true, take a moment to honor her. Like this video, share it with someone who remembers her magic, and subscribe for more stories that shine a light on the legends who shaped our world.